Hey, and welcome once again to Ancient Ways for Modern Days. My name is Mike Freeman, pastor at Valley Christian Fellowship in Longview, Washington. And today we are continuing in John chapter 9. And yesterday I just loved the way it began. Jesus and his disciples, they stumble upon a man who has been born blind. The disciples ask this question. They ask, Jesus, is this man blind because of his sin or because of the sin of his parents? And Jesus says it's not because of either of those reasons, but rather it's so that the glory of God will be seen. Jesus is going to perform a miracle. And the miracle is going to heal this man. And there's going to be all sorts of drama with the religious leaders. Shocker, right? Yet, Jesus, he sees this moment where God is going to, again, allow him to perform another sign, revealing his identity. Now, one of the great things about this story is Jesus, he front loads the sign with his identity. And so we actually don't get to the healing before we get to Jesus and his self-revelation, his description of who he is and the significance of that. Remember, this man is blind. This man has been in darkness his entire life. He has no ability to see around the world. This is his life. Now let's look at the text today. We're going to, again, just handle a few verses. But verses 4 and 5, Jesus continues speaking. He says, "We must work the works of him who sent me, God the Father, while it is day." He says, while it's day, while it's time to do the work, we must do the work. There's going to come a moment when it's night. There's going to come a moment when Jesus is going to be removed. He's going to be crucified, right? It says, night is coming when no one can work. Verse 5, he says, as long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. Now, again, Jesus here, he just lays it out there for us. He says, listen, I am the light of the world. Jesus says this man is walking in darkness. I am going to bring light into his life and make it so he can see. But look, humanity is walking in darkness. This goes all the way back to John chapter 1, where we see that the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness cannot comprehend or overcome the light. This is who Jesus is. He says, when I am in the world, while he was walking on the earth, he was the light of the world. He's the light by which believers walk. He's the light by which we understand what is right and wrong and how to be united with the Father through his death and his resurrection. Now, I want to remind us of this and of Jesus' identity today. I want us to see the imagery of a man in darkness who is about to have light shined into his eyes for the first time and him being able to perceive it. I want us to see Jesus' identity as the light of the world, the one who does that. But I also want to remind you of what Jesus says about us, about his believers, about his followers, about his disciples. Jesus, he is the light of the world while he's in the world, but when he leaves that role to you and to me. Jesus says that you are the light of the world. This is what he tells us in the Sermon on the Mount. He talks about how we're a light that's not meant to be hid under a bushel or under a bucket or a basket. Instead, our light should be shining forth so that all can see. Jesus, as the light of the world, transforms you and I when he rescues us out of the kingdom of darkness and brings us into his own kingdom. And then he gives us a brand new identity where you are now the light of the world. This means that when you walk through this dark world, when you interact with people at work or at school or on the ball field or your neighbors or your family, all of these people who have yet to trust in Jesus, you are meant to be this light shining into their life. That light shines when you show them love, when you do them good, and most importantly, that light shines when you share with them how they can know the true light as well. When you share with them his love, his perfect life, his sacrificial death, and then his victorious resurrection. This is you following in the footsteps of Jesus Christ. This is you being the light of the world, just as Christ called you to reflect him who is the light of the world. This is such a great picture. This is meant to be a great encouragement to us. And what better encouragement as this video, this is actually landing on Wednesday of Easter week. This is a week where we celebrate Jesus and his death and then his resurrection more than any other weekend. Now, at Valley, we teach about Jesus' death and resurrection every week because the gospel is how we're saved. But look, brother or sister in Christ, you have a great opportunity this week to be the light of the world. You have an opportunity today to invite someone to come to an Easter service where you know the gospel will be proclaimed. Now, I know many of our listeners, they're part of the Valley Church family. And so you've heard us encourage you already to invite someone to church, to invite someone to come and sit with you and hear the gospel message. But here's what I want to ask you to do today. If you're part of Valley, or maybe you're not even part of Valley, you're just listening to this from a distance, I would like you, when this video comes to a conclusion, to take some time to pray for whoever the Lord has placed upon your heart. Whoever it is that they're still walking in darkness, they have yet to receive the light of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I would like you to pray for them. Pray that the Lord would soften their heart and open their mind. Pray that the Lord would give you an opportunity to extend that invitation to come to an Easter service, or maybe even the Lord would open up the door for you to share the gospel with them yourself. And then ask the Lord to give you the courage and the willingness to have that conversation, whether it's an invitation to trust in Christ or an invitation to come to church. Take today and go to the Lord and ask him to help you be the light of the world. This is our ancient way for our modern day.